Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to review this Servo. It's by ZOSKay. That's the Amazon seller's name. I think several different companies sell this Servo. This is a 35 kilogram high torque all metal gear servo, and this ought to be pretty nice. 35 kilogram, that should be pretty good. It comes with this, as you can see, different servo horns in this bag, and it comes with a I believe that's a stainless steel servo horn. So let's go ahead and take it out of the bag and look at the contents here. Of course, here is a servo, and then you've got this bag here of the different servo horns you want to put on there for whatever you're going to use it on. Of course, most of us, like myself, are going to use it on an RC car. And then here is that metal one inside of here. So pretty inexpensive. Like, again, they sell these on Amazon, and it should be a good high torque servo, because what I thought I would do is, since I was offered to review this would be perfect to upgrade the steering servo in my DHK Maximus. So that's the best way to really go about reviewing this. The weather here, you know, we have quite a bit of snow, so I'm probably not going to take the truck out. I've done some snow run videos with the Maximus, and it does very well. But we'll just put this in the car and just make sure that it works. It should be perfectly fine, and it will be a nice upgrade, because a lot of people complain on the Maximus that the steering servo is this weak link. And the steering servo is right down in here, and this is obviously pretty heavy to get in front of the camera, but hopefully we can see it right down here. And it is only a 9 kilogram steering servo, so it is what, like a fourth of the power of this one that I got to review here. So this ought to make a nice upgrade to the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the steering servo, and then we'll put this one in. So one second here while I get that set. Alright guys, so I have the camera repositioned slightly here, and what it appears on the Maximus here, I got to get the dual Dean's plugs out of the way here. You take off these Allen wrench or hex screw heads here. There's a couple on this side, and there's one over here. I think there must be an adapter underneath here, and it should allow this to come out. I don't think you have to take anything out from underneath, but I could be mistaken. I believe these just, you know, like a standard servo, screw into these little mounts here on the side. So what we'll do is I'll go ahead and take these out and see if it does come loose. Of course, I'm going to just use the steering horn that comes with this one so that it works fine, rather than switching it to that metal one. But this should be perfectly fine. I've not heard anybody busting the link here. It's more the servo itself either strips out and just it doesn't quite have the power for this really large 1/8 scale truck with these really big tires, and that's the reason why. Now, I've had no problems, but since I was offered to review this, might as well go ahead and upgrade this servo with a more powerful one. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just pause the video here, and I'll take these screws out and make sure it comes undone, rather than just sitting here and fast forwarding through a bunch of stuff that you guys won't want to watch. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and just took those screws out on the top, and I did have to take off this to the bottom. I believe I had to get that off to kind of get this out from underneath there, because it's wedged in between this piece. So I need to take this little piece that attaches to the chassis to be able to attach the new steering servo in there. Then it just pops right out. So it's a matter of taking out 2 screws on the bottom, and then 2 on one side and 1 here. So it's a total of 5 screws I took off. And then we have to just go ahead and unplug it from the receiver over here, pull this down the wire. I can probably just do that right now. Now I've upgraded the the receiver and the controller on this to the Radio Link one. It has a built-in gyro in it. So the DHK, I never really cared too much for the stock radio system. It wasn't bad in terms of distance or anything. It just, I don't like that weird notch in the steering wheel on it and stuff like that. So the Radio Link one with the built-in gyro really helps on a truck like this. That really, how it can get squirrely on you with where the wheels and tires balloon up on it when you're driving it. So let's go ahead and just see if we can get this pulled out here. And they made it to where this is made to go, the servo plug go right through there. So yeah, go ahead and take that out, and I'll just have to, we'll go ahead and put this one in there. Let's go ahead and undo the tie, and feed this one through. Let's see, it should be probably gonna go like this. So it's like the other one. We'll feed it in through here, then go ahead and attach it. So let me just go ahead, rather than you guys watch me do a bunch of fumbling around here, we'll go ahead and I'll get that stuff on there, and then we'll put the screws in and get the servo here mounted into the car. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I can't believe what a pain this has turned out to be, just to replace or swap out this steering servo. There's this little piece up in here, which is going to be difficult to see in the video, that attaches right up in here, and it's got two screws that let the servo mount from coming in from the bottom, from the back here. It screws up into it. I was able to pop it off when I pulled the servo out, but I can't push it in and snap it into those screws. It's going to be hard for me to explain, and it's certainly going to be very hard for you guys to see this. And you can access those screws to tighten them through these two holes that are in the bottom of the car, right in here. I believe it's right, I think it's these two. And let me see, is it those two? I think so. And you can reach up in there and from these, you know, these holes to tighten it, but you can't get, I couldn't get it on with the screws back down to snap the servo in from the side, and to try to screw it in there, it's darn impossible to try to get your finger and put it, you can't get a screw up there and hold it in place. So I figured, well, can you come in through the screw holes and then feed the screw up on top of the Allen wrench and tighten it? Well, these holes are just not quite big enough. The screw head gets caught in there. So what I think I'm going to try to do is just take a drill, and I think I have to see which two holes it is again, but it doesn't really matter, and just widen the hole a little bit so the screw can get through there, and then I can tighten it, because I can't get it through there. I think coming in from the bottom is going to be the easiest way to try to do this, unless there's something I'm just overseeing, because I can't get it to snap onto the screws from the side. Obviously I was able to get it to unsnap by pulling really hard. So maybe it's possible to, basically you're taking the, well, here's the old servo, you would taking these servo mounts here, and you would, the screws come up like this, and when I took it off, I popped them off, but I can't push it back on there. So the screws need to come up from the bottom and tighten. So again, I think I'm going to have to try to widen those holes in the chassis, in the alloy, come up there, and then see if I can get it to mount. So hopefully I'm able to do that, because I'm getting a bit frustrated. Even nicked my finger there just messing around. It was bleeding pretty good. So let me try that out, guys, and I'll be right back. Alright, guys, so I went ahead and drilled those two holes a little bit wider, and I got the steering servo in here. It was just a pure luck that I hit the hole. Let me show you again. I may have been pointing to the two wrong holes a while ago, but it's these two holes right here. I just widened a little bit so that the screw would go, and the head would go all the way through. And since it's attached to the top of my Allen wrench, I was able to then, you know, it'll stay on there pretty easy until you reach all the way to the top. And I just started turning, and it was pure luck. So I got it tightened up there. So then at that point, I went ahead and put the this adapter piece back in. Some of the things I take it off, and maybe you don't need to take off, you know, but because this piece here in the front, you could probably just take the two screws off the bottom, and it might lift out with the servo. But there's a little peg down here that snaps it into place so it lines up with the holes. So I got the two screws up to the bottom and the back. Got the two here. Now I just need to put the servo horn on here, tighten that down, and get some more screws I took out. Like I said, I may have taken some screws out I didn't need to. I really wasn't sure. So I'm going to do that. Then I'll get some batteries. They're not charged up, but I have enough power just to test the steering servo. So we'll get that hooked up and just see how the steering works. It's probably a good idea to power it on and make sure that the servo is centered before you put the servo horn on, because if it might be out of whack and then you put it on there, you may have to take it off and reposition it or something if your trim doesn't have enough. So I may go ahead and do that. So let me go ahead and power it off and get those screws back in, electricity hooked up to it, and then we'll see how it works. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I went ahead and I just centered the steering, the servo, and the one I put in with the power. And then I went ahead and put the servo horn on and tightened it down, and it should be good to go. So this is powered on. It'll be a little noisy because of the ESC and the fan on the motor here that it uses to keep it cool. Here's the radio link, and turn it on. And there we go, guys. Don't even have to do it. The servo is all wired up right. Don't have to reverse it or anything. So yeah, now I got a 35 kilogram high torque servo in here, and shouldn't have any problems with it stripping out the metal gears, and certainly it'll have plenty of torque for these big wheels. So a little bit of a pain there, guys, with the getting the servo mounted back in, which, you know, again, maybe there's another way of doing it better. I just drilled out the, you know, just widen the holes a little bit on the bottom so I could feed the screw up in there. I think what you could also do is you could widen the little gaps on the side of the servo so they snap in to the sides of the screws, and then you have to make sure they get tightened up and mashed up there good so they don't pop out the sides. So that was my next plan of attack, was to just make the little gaps a little wider on the sides, and then you'd be able to probably snap it onto the post of the screws. But widening those little holes was it was very minimal amount I took off, and now I can feed a screw all the way up from the bottom. Alright guys, that wraps up the review of these 35 kilogram high torque servo and / DHK Maximus steering servo upgrade video. If you like these tutorials or my reviews and flight videos, whatever, be sure to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, because that's really important to YouTube. I don't get many of those, and I'd like to get more, so give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down, whatever. Just give me something. Also, comment if you have any questions. Let me know if there's anything that I need to change, improve, anything you want to hear, anything about this. Feel free to leave those down in the comment section. Just click the bell so you know whenever I upload new videos. Subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.